Coming up next on Tider Insider TV, the Crimson Tide softball team moved one step closer to the College World Series, but before they can get there, they must handle the big bats of Hawaii. Will aloha mean hello, Oklahoma City, or goodbye to a dream? And what seemed impossible became reality this past weekend in Knoxville. Now the Crimson Tide is in the SEC baseball tournament. Will they be able to tame the Tigers? And it's a recruiting roundup you don't want to miss. Numerous top prospects were in town this past weekend. Who looked good and which young star is Alabama after? Plus, Rodney talks one-on-one with Alabama commitment DJ Petway.
No, your commitment is solid.
Yes, sir.
It's the show where you're never too old to come home. Tider Insider TV starts right now.
Go inside the Crimson Tide. Tider Insider TV with Rodney Orr and Gary Harris.
We haven't lost since like March 31st. I mean, how do you complain about that?
Very simple, you don't. Alabama blew right through the regional this past weekend. They beat Alcorn State on Friday, then Lipscomb on Saturday, and then took out the Bison again on Sunday. Kelsey Dunn had 14 strikeouts in the championship game as Alabama's win streak grew to 27 consecutive victories. And that means Bama has now tied the school record for consecutive wins. Kelsey Dunn's individual win streak now stands at 16. And with Sunday's victory, Bama claims its 6th consecutive regional title and 8th overall. They now move on to host the number 16 overall seed, Hawaii, in the Super Regional this coming weekend. The Rainbows, by the way, lead the nation in home runs, but they're about to face Kelsey Dunn. So we'll see how powerful their hitters are come Friday over at the UA Softball Complex. And good evening, everybody, and welcome into another edition of Tider Insider TV presented by Buffalo Rock. Tonight we're enjoying Sunkissed alongside Rodney Orr from TiderInsider.com. I'm Gary Harris. And Rodney, that softball team is really on a roll, the number 1 overall seed. And Hawaii's confident. I read the quote from one of their players yesterday. She said, yeah, Alabama's good, but we're going to beat them. Well, they did win a regional. They earned the right to be here, but I don't know that they're quite prepared for what they're going to run into, not just with the Alabama softball team, but with 2,500 fans, an incredible atmosphere. So I think they're a good club, but I don't know if they're quite as ready as they think they are.
There's one thing for sure, Gary. Hawaii's going to get their chance, and we'll see if they can back it up. But you really, to me, why would you want to say something like that when you're coming into the number 1 seeds, home place, a team that's won, as you mentioned, Gary, 27 in a row? But that's okay. I think that Pat Murphy, the thing that he does so well is he keeps his team focused, and I think certainly he'll have them ready this coming Friday.
Alabama's got a great hitting team 1 through 9, but the power numbers Hawaii's put up are unbelievable, right at 150 home runs. So you would at least on the surface say Bama pitching versus Hawaii's hitting, and if Alabama keeps them in the ballpark, I like the Tide's chances.
Well, let me say this, Gary. Certainly they have a chance, a slugger's chance, if you will, Hawaii. But, usually we've seen it how many times? Good defense, good pitching beats good hitting, generally.
And we know this, Alabama and Patrick Murphy on a mission. He wants very badly to be the first SEC team to ever win a College World Series championship, and Alabama right now looks like one of the favorites. Well, when we spoke to you last week, it seemed like a long shot that Alabama's baseball team would be getting ready to play in the SEC tournament, but the Tide beat the odds this past weekend in Knoxville. Alabama clinched a spot in Hoover on Friday after they beat Tennessee for the 2nd straight time, and then after Kentucky lost its first 2 at Georgia. Then on Saturday, Bama improved its seeding after the Tide finished off a sweep of the Vols. Meanwhile, Mississippi State managed to win 1 game on Saturday against LSU. That makes Alabama the 7th overall seed, and what does that mean? Well, they'll get to face the number 2 seed tomorrow morning, and that will be the Auburn Tigers.
Now you get here, it's been such a grind, the last 2 weeks to knowing, you got the goal of getting to Hoover, and we really want to play in front of the fans here in Birmingham and the Alabama supporters. So I think there's a relaxation, but also a certain focus and concentration that our players will have all week this week.
We've just got tons of confidence right now. We've been playing great in all aspects. We've been pitching great, good defense, and getting good hits. So, we just need to keep it up.
And both Alabama and Auburn worked out this morning in Hoover. The Tide, as the lower seed, hit the practice field first at 9 a.m. Then Auburn an hour later went out at 10 a.m. Both these teams, Rodney, very confident right now. Alabama's won 5 in a row. Auburn has won 6 in a row, and Auburn just destroyed Ole Miss this past weekend in Oxford. They are hitting the ball. It must look like a grapefruit coming up there right now. They're hitting the ball so solid. So even though Alabama is playing well, I think it's safe to say the Tide is an underdog in this game against the SEC West Division champs.
Well, sure, but you know, when you look at what Alabama, they had their backs to the wall, had to go to Knoxville and do what they did, Gary, that's phenomenal to me. You know, certainly knowing what you have to do with your backs to the wall. And the question is Alabama, you know, the hot team right now? Are they a team that's starting to, you know, hit their stride at the right time of the season, right here at the SEC tournament? We'll see.
And if you're wondering, during the regular season, Alabama and Auburn split 4 games. They played a game down in Montgomery that didn't count in the standings. Auburn won that one. Alabama did win 2 of 3 against the Tigers in an SEC series here in Tuscaloosa, so 2-2 on the season. Well, here's what day one will look at like, and because of games not ending until after 1 a.m. in the morning the last few years, they moved it up. First game will be at 9:30 a.m. It's going to be packed, though, at the Hoover Met. Alabama and Auburn. Ole Miss and South Carolina will get underway 30 to 45 minutes after that first game. LSU and Florida scheduled to go at 4:30 in the afternoon. Then Vanderbilt and Arkansas in the nightcap, again, about 30 to 45 minutes after that LSU-Florida game ends. They're hoping to get play wrapped up prior to midnight, and I think they're going to be able to do it this year. They've also put in some rules to speed the games up. Pitchers only having 20 seconds between pitches when nobody's on base and some other things. So I think the pace of play will be a little quicker tomorrow. Well, don't touch that dial. We've still got a lot to do here on Tider Insider TV. Coming up, former Crimson Tide basketball player Justin Knox says he's going to be a Tar Heel. Is it a good decision for him? And can we finally put this story to rest? And still to come, we'll talk football recruiting. Several top prospects were in town this past weekend for a Nike Combine. We'll tell you why and if wearing crimson isn't in any of their futures. Stay tuned. You're watching the show that takes you inside the Crimson Tide, Tider Insider TV. Time to talk to you about one of my favorite places to eat in Tuscaloosa, Nuke's, 205 University Boulevard East, just up from the UA campus. The Express Cafe, and Express is the key word. You get in there, you order, you sit down, they bring you food right out to you. Freshly prepared, quickly, great place to eat. Terrific oven-toasted sandwiches, California-style pizzas, hand-tossed salads, everything made with fresh ingredients. That's right, it tastes good and it's healthy. They've got a beer and wine menu as well, and a terrific dessert menu featuring cakes, brownies, and Rice Krispie treats. Call 758-2455 for all your catering needs. They're open 7 days a week. That's Nuke's Express Cafe in Tuscaloosa. Well, Ronnie, the Justin Knox story finally about to come to an end. I got a text message and then a phone call from Darian Knox's uncle last night informing me that Justin has decided to attend North Carolina. He'll play his final season of college basketball for Roy Williams. I think things worked out well for Justin. Of course, a lot of brouhaha over the fact that he was granted a transfer following his graduation this summer from Alabama, but not to an in-state or school in the UA system, which a lot of people felt like he wanted to go to UAB, and not to another Southeastern Conference school. Family wasn't too happy about that, but in the end, like I said, you got to say it worked out well for Justin Knox. I mean, you're getting to go play for the Tar Heels.
Well, again, he's from Tuscaloosa. He's going to graduate from the university, or has. And, you know, Gary, you certainly don't want a bad taste in his mouth. A local kid, played here, spent time here. And I think it's a great opportunity for him to go to North Carolina, tradition-rich program, experience that for a year, playing for Roy Williams. We know he's one of the best coaches in the country. And hopefully they'll do well, and hopefully he'll do extremely well.
Yeah, and I think everything's good between Justin and his family with the university and Coach Grant. I think everybody's on good terms, and he just simply feels like he will be better suited playing somewhere else, and we will find out. Good luck to Justin Knox. Well, coming up next, several of the nation's top football prospects were in Tuscaloosa this past weekend. We'll show you one young defensive tackle who Alabama has a strong interest in, and you'll figure out real quickly why when you see him. Plus, we'll get to your phone calls and your emails. You can call us at 205-348-WVOA. That's 348-9882. Or you can email us, TITV@WVOATV.com. Stay tuned. More Tider Insider is on the way.